welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about something different. Can't talk about begonias every time, but I do have a lot more begonia content, and feel free to comment below and let me know what topics you'd like me to talk about. But today I thought we would do a video on Pinguicula, the Mexican butterworts. I've got my microphone closer, so hopefully you guys can hear me today. And I can scream because nobody's home today. So first, here's a tray of Pinguicula that is totally overgrown and they're all squished together. There's various kinds, and the Pinguicula will color up when you put them really close to a grow light. So I actually have these just plant trays, and they're probably as close as, I don't want to say, like 4 to 6 inches away from a grow light, and that will get them to pink up. Some of them you can see are more pink. I shouldn't say pink up because some of them will turn purple, like the Cyclosecta will color up. Some of them will turn really pink if they're super close, but my grow light is kind of a square, so I think it kind of hits a certain areas more. And also Pinguicula can go through a dormant phase, or I think it's like a succulent phase they call it, I believe, or more of a dormant phase where they kind of cluster up and don't look as perhaps open and colorful and full as they usually are in their regular stage. Look, I think you can see a little bug in here getting eaten. So what happens is some of them are more sticky than others. I don't know where he went. And some are less sticky than others. So if you're going for collecting fungus gnats, then you want the more juicy ones, whereas some of them I just collect because I think they're absolutely beautiful. I'll show you one of my favorites later. It's the raspberry blonde. Actually, I can grab that in a minute here. But that's how I grow them. I put them in my grow tent. The humidity isn't crazy high, but it's obviously higher than being out in the open for sure. If I don't put them in my grow tent and I put them on a shelf, then I will often put a lid, like a dome, on this and just leave the vents open, and they seem fine like that. As I'm in Vancouver, BC, and it's the winter time, so we've got the heat going, especially since my plant room is in the garage, which is insulated, but it's not obviously perfectly insulated. So it does get kind of cold in here, so I do have 1 or 2 heaters running at all times. And no, I don't know what my electric bill is, and I know I don't want to know, because let's just live in blissful denial. So first, let me, my drawers here with the various soils. So there's my ping soil, and I'll just show you how I make it. So I'll just take my soil base, which is essentially just a peat-based soil, I guess. It's just ProMix HP, high porosity, with, I think it's got a macrorrhizal component to it too, and this is just really fine perlite. And then I add pool filter sand. And I don't cook, so I don't really measure anything. I'm not used to measuring anything, so let's just mix that up and see how that looks. But basically it was like like a big cup and a little cup, and add sand to texture instead of to taste. So mix that up. I think I'll use a little bit more sand, and I usually like to throw a little bit of, you can throw gravel, thicker perlite, and then throw some pumice, which I do like. Let's grab some pumice here. A tray of supplies. Throw some pumice in there. Again, one day I'll do a little tour of the room, but you're always waiting for it to look better, a little less messy and whatnot. Oh, and by the way, I was not sure what pool filter sand was. I thought, is it like salty? I mean, I didn't taste it. Is it salty, or is it like, what's different about it? Does it have some other chemicals in it? And as far as I could find, it was just that it's a finer grain sand. So you can see here. You know, it reminds me of like, oh, it's like the sand in the Dominican, which we were in the Dominican in a small town, not near any resorts, in November. I rented an Airbnb there, and it was glorious. And the sand is white like that. Hopefully you can hear me talking with all this mixing going on. Anyway, that is about to my liking. About like so. And I like to add a little bit of water. And in the back here, I don't know if you can see down there. No, probably not. I have a jug of water with one of these. Look, see that? Oops, drip, drip, drip. One of these automatic dispenser things. You know, because I don't want to walk to my sink, which is like 5 steps away. So add a little water to my soil there. Yeah, sometimes I'm, binging on YouTube videos and comfy in my chair, and hours go by. I think that's like part of a characteristic of an ADHD. Oh no, maybe not ADD person, is that they can get so involved in their passions, their projects, that they lose track of time. And so a lot of times I'll be up till like 2 or sometimes even 5 in the morning before I realize, oh shoot, I need to really stop and get some sleep. Especially the other day when I was at my day job at the hospital. I was typing reports, which is like the most boring thing ever. And I realized that I had fallen asleep sitting in my chair. And yes, I can fall asleep anywhere. I fall asleep sitting in my chair. I fall asleep when I'm in my car, unfortunately. And while I was typing my report, I ended up falling asleep and typed a whole bunch of S's. Anyway, my colleagues thought that was quite funny when they were watching me delete all the S's. Anyway, so let's try to separate and propagate some of these, okay? Because they're pretty squished in there. Now, as far as Pinguicula names, I'm not so good with that. No, I'm not. Let me use a separate water bottle here. Sorry, I enunciate my T's a lot. Water bottle, is that better? Sorry about that. I should have probably filled it up before the video, before I started the video. Apologies. I'm still new at this. So I just use regular water. I think that there's some that say that you shouldn't use water with fertilizer in, although I have, and I have not noticed any detriment to my plants, to my Pinguicula, from doing so. But in general, I try to just use regular water. I used to have a 0 water filter, which I bought specifically for my pings, but I live in Vancouver, BC. The water's fine here. I don't think it really matters that much. And I have a shop in Blaine, Washington, which is a small city, and the water comes out kind of yellowish there from the sink, and I've used it on my pings and they're perfectly happy. And they multiply like rabbits. Or maybe there's going to be a new saying like they multiply like Pinguicula. Anyway, so let's figure out what to do here. I got distracted again. I was talking about names of Pinguicula. I don't really know the names. I mean, I could go through my purchase history from way back. I don't know the names of all of them because I find some of them look very similar. I can guess. I mean, I know that the purple one is Cyclosecta. I feel like this one is Ellersier. I don't know how to say it. Ellersier. It's beautiful. It gets really pink with more light. I feel like this one is probably Pirouette, but I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on it. But let's propagate some of these and separate some of these, because in no time we can get a lot of leaves. So there is, whoops, there's two. So there's one big fat juicy gorgeous ping that will get this pink with more light. And look, there's so many leaves. You can see the roots are super fine and very superficial. Oopsie, sorry guys. So they don't need it like a really deep soil. If you're planting them in individual planters, what I would suggest is poking holes, and again, try not to use a soldering iron. You can use these Dremels. It's amazing, and you won't breathe in all the fumes from the soldering. It's called an iron soldering knife, soldering gun, I guess. Oh no, can I say that on YouTube? Soldering tool. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that word. Anyway, I'm just talking about plants. Don't cancel me. So all you do is gently pull off these little leaves, and some of them, you know, you want to take good ones when you're propagating. And here it made a little, what you call an offset, or a little baby. So we're going to prop that guy back in that one, I guess. You just gently and try to pull from the stem, if there is a stem, from the origin, from the base, whatever you want to call it. And all you have to do, can you see here? Boop, 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 is just lay those in there. That's it. You don't have to tuck them into the soil per se. You just lay them in there. Just make sure that you don't rip the leaf, and you pull as close to the base as possible. And you can see these little fine roots on the inside here. See those white roots? And then there's a root. A root. Oh, focus. A root with a baby there. See that? Or sorry, a leaf with a little root. I can't talk today. So yeah, see if you can. I mean, if you rip one, do try to just put both in. But look, you see there's already like little roots there. So they'll be happy. And I think you can tuck those ones in if you want to. Got my handy dandy skewer stick again. So I would just lay these in here, and then in no time, how long is no time, you say? I don't know, 3-ish weeks-ish. They should all grow little, they're kind of like succulents, all grow little leaf buds and whatnot. And from, I mean, look at how many leaves this ping has. From one ping, you can grow 5,492 of them. See how a lot of these already have little roots. Just lay them in there, and there you have it. Easy peasy. So easy. And I mean, you can sacrifice the whole mother plant. This one has so many leaves that, you know, I've pulled off like probably like 12 already, and this one's so-so, but we'll try it anyway. But maybe we'll put it aside away from the other leaves so that if it melts, it doesn't get all gooey on the other leaves. Okay, so that's lots. We took a lot off of there. Let me just take a couple more here. And I do want to save a little bit for it to continue to be happy and grow in the original tray I have. All right, that's one. Let me keep doing more. Okay, look, I got some dirt on these. That doesn't look pretty, but they'll be fine. Okay, so that was, I believe, Pirouette, and you can see they're kind of like stuck in here, all squished. So I want to just thin out this tray a little bit. I should just put some of these on my website because, you know, I only have so much room in here. So there's another Pirouette with a, I believe it's a Pirouette with a flower coming. Lovely, lovely. Okay, look, there's so many squished in here. I mean, they divide like crazy. Like, as you saw from one mother ping, I can still preserve the mother and have like 20 leaves right here. So if you get a few pings, you can then have 1,000,000 pings. So I think I'll just plant this guy up to maybe put on my website or put in the grow area, what do I call it? Tentarium that I have. which I am getting ready to do a tour of soon. Look, there's one with the baby in here. So I'll pick that up with the pointy side of my stick. Come on out. Come on out, baby. Okay. And there's a little baby within there, kind of tucked in there. You can see. So I'll just kind of poke him back into the soil here. And I'll probably plant that into another thing as well. I guess let's just separate some of these here before we do anything. Separate all these squished in planties here. Boy, they're so squished. Lift and gently pull. Push the other guys away, and we've got a couple of babies in there as well. So they're kind of squished, so they're much prettier when they're not so squished. You can just take the babies and poke them into your new tray. Okay, another squished one in here. Shake, shake, shake. Get the soil off of their leaves. Or you can use a paintbrush if you want to, I suppose. You can use a paintbrush. You can see there's another big baby underneath the mom here. So you can just take that baby, hopefully, I'm getting dirt everywhere, and just pull it apart. You know what I have noticed though, is that snails love pings. So the only thing I would say be careful of is if you're putting your pings inside with like a milsbo or a tent with other plants, be aware that these tiny little snails love to feast or hang out or have a symbiotic relationship. I mean, it doesn't seem to affect the pings in a negative way at all. The pings seem to be just fine. They don't have holes in them, or I don't notice snail poops or anything, but they will affect your other plants, like snails on my begonia. They will eat the leaves of the begonia, which is not ideal. And I'll separate some out here too. And of course you don't want them on your other plants that have thinner leaves, but they don't affect the pings, as far as I can tell. So look at all these pirouettes that I have in here. Oh, there's a leaf, so I'll just pop that into here. Fortunately, that got all dirt, full of dirt. Okay, oh, I've got a cute little, I'll put the name on the screen. I can't remember the name of this one. It's a long-leaved one, longer, and it grows really pink with more light. It's so cute. What is the name of that one? I can't remember. You know, my brain is full of begonia plant names that there's simply no more room. So if there's some leaves that fall, you can just literally just toss them in and they will grow more pings. I have like little toothbrushes from the dollar store that I can use to just brush off the dirt off of these poor guys here that I got all dirty. Because the pings have a juicy substance on their leaves to which the fungus gnats are attracted to and stick onto, and their little feeties get stuck on, and then they can't leave, and then they are digested by these beautiful carnivorous plants. Okay, what else can I separate? Look, this one is super stuck in here. So we will, little babies under there too. See, so not only do they make little offsets, they propagate so readily, easily, just by leaf pullings. So don't be too worried about taking off some leaves off your plant, or buy two and use one to propagate and one to grow, or take the bottom leaves of both and leave the tops to be your mama plant so you can propagate more. Okay, still more to separate in here. The only thing is, you may run into the quote-unquote problem of having way too many. Because somehow, and why is it? Comment below, please. Tell me, why is it that propagating plants is so addictive? Is it the visualization of little babies that makes us like screech in glee? Tell me, why do you love propagating plants? Is it, well, it could be that you're selling them. It could be that just the sense of like creating something and growing something is magical. It could be, what is it? You're a hoarder? I don't know. I'm a hoarder. I mean, my husband would probably say I'm a hoarder. I mean, not in the true sense, but I mean, my plant room is a little bit crazy. And I like to save, oh, these meat trays. I love these. So certain stores in my area have these see-through meat trays. And I don't know why they don't make these trays transparent. Because say I'm like putting them in my tent on a shelf with plants inside but no soil, because obviously soil is dark, which would defy the purpose of being transparent. But say I just put pots in and I still want some light from above to filter through, why not make these transparent? Like if I'm growing anthurium in, for example, in a tray, and I want some water on the bottom just to let it be more humid, or let them soak up some water. If I'm not so, if I'm not a frequent waterer, then why not make them clear and some light can go through to the layer below? Oops, sorry, I leaned a little too hard on that tray. Sorry if that was loud. Just trying to brush off some of the soil still, so I can still separate lots. I really love this one. I believe this is Ellercia. Where did his names come from? And it gets so gorgeous and pink with more light. This one's, not super bright yet. But look, I have so many here to separate. I mean, I need a whole new tray at this point to grow these guys in, because they're just totally squished in here. But I have no more room for another tray. I haven't any room for another tray in my that particular grow tent. So you would think, okay, well, if you don't have any more room, maybe don't propagate anymore. That would be logical. But are any of us plant people logical? Maybe not so much. I just can't help it. I'm like, look at all these beautiful plants. Imagine another tray full of them, and another. Look at this one. I love this one. And they can get even more pink than that as well, with even more light. Okay, it's a little better, but there's a clump. You see there's a whole clump in here that is all stuck together. Right here is all stuck together, but let's deal with some of these first. What am I going to do with them? Well, let's propagate some. This one's not looking too beautiful. So if you have a leaf that is still sturdy on the bottom, but the top is kind of wimpy, like limp, I'll just kind of cut it off. And I have a compost bin here where I throw all my plant scraps. I don't know why it suddenly occurred to me that I just can throw them in yard waste, and that would be better, I think. So take off any of these dead leaves, because you don't want them to rot on top of the good leaf. Like this one doesn't look wonderful, so here's some babies which I'll just pull off and just snug them into the soil, a little hole, tuck it in, and snug it up. Easy peasy. Like literally easier than, just as easy as growing succulents, the old outdoor succulents, the hen and chicks, So if I pull off some of those, if you pull off too much, the whole thing's going to fall apart. So you may not want that if you want to preserve a mother plant. But you can also take them all off and use all the leaves. So again, this one's kind of floppy at the end, a little bit what's the word? Little bit, I don't know, I can't think of the word right now. Just floppy, you know, just limp. Sorry, I don't know why it was so hard for me to find that word. Okay. And then these mother plants, I'll just plant them into little pots most likely because they are really huge, and I can probably sell some of those because they're really big, and as you can see I have a lot of them already. So there's another limpy one at the end. I'll save the juicy part and let it propagate from the bottom juicy part. Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside for now, and I am going to get some planters here. So I believe this is the smallest size I have that I can drill or solder, or not, just kidding, use my Dremel through. This is a really hard plastic, and I've actually never tried to Dremel through. This is a soft plastic, which I can Dremel through, but it's a little big because pings have really shallow roots. So ideally, you know, it'd be nice to make like a very shallow ping planter. Like there are these ones, but oops, oh my goodness. There are these ones, but I find they take too much soil. I suppose this one is almost the same as that one, so no. I just need a really shallow one. Like, I think these cups are great. The only thing is I suppose they're kind of wide, but these are probably the best. I get these when I get sauces. So everybody at work knows to save these, save their peanut sauce, ketchup, whatever, containers for me. And I just drill, so pardon the noise. I drill some holes on the bottom, and I'll just let them sit in a tray, kind of like this, full of water. And the water will get really gross eventually, but they don't care. They don't care at all. My only thing is, be careful you don't drill through and drill your hand, because I don't want to be treating you in the hospital. And this thing is just rechargeable, which is great. Just a Dremel, but you can probably buy cheaper ones. So these are the best I find because they're super shallow and yet wide. So you can use those for growing your pings. So I'm gonna put some soil into here, ping soil. Yeah, so I don't want to be treating you. I mean, I always tell my patients jokingly that I don't cook because it's very dangerous. You can burn your hand, or while you're doing preparation. Like I get a lot of patients cutting avocados and cutting through to their palm when they try to get the pit out. And cut through their palm, or maybe if they're paring something. So I don't cook because it's very dangerous, and I don't wash dishes because that's very dangerous too. I tell them, and I tell my husband. This is all jokingly, right? My husband does all the cooking and cleaning, and I do the other stuff, you know, kid stuff, money management, budgeting. You know, I have several jobs. So here you can just make a little hole to snug that in, and that's got a fairly good root system, and you can see the sand in there. So I'll just make a little hole, poke that guy in, try to lift the leaves up, and just snug that in, and probably put a little more soil underneath. I also save all these soup spoons, but I'm used to using these spoons. I'm Chinese, so I know you can't see my face, but they're just Chinese soup spoons. You might get them with your pho or your ramen or something. I just am used to holding them because I've used them since I was a child. And I keep them all for my various types of soil as kind of the perfect vessel, because they're kind of, you know, they're kind of cupped up on the side to deliver, to disseminate, to pick up the soil. I don't know what's with me and words today. So a little bit of water, and don't forget they'll sit in a tray of water and just drink from the bottom, and they love that. So if you are lucky enough to get these like meat trays, or if you're vegetarian, some stores have these transparent ones, and I love them, and just sit them in the tray. I'll show you later some plants that I have sitting in trays. So let's take this beautiful pink one, which I love, love, love. And you know what? Let's take this beautiful pink one. I'm sure I can sell that, and somebody will love it to pieces. Okay, so I'm just gonna tuck that in. I made a little hole. I'm just gonna tuck that in, and then I just use my stick to kind of push the soil towards the middle. Okay. And just try to, not let the leaves sit right on the soil. I mean, I don't think they mind, but I don't think they love it either. And then it's got holes on the bottom, so I'll set that in my tray. Okay, and let's see here. Let's take another one of these because it's way too full in here. So again, I believe this is Pinguicula ellersiae. If the root system, if you can see, this one kind of curls, the leaves kind of curl down, and the root system is kind of within that tented area. Look, there's a baby in here, so I'll kick him out and plant him in my other bin. So you can see that the soil is kind of within this curled area. Then I might not make a hole so much, and I may make a little mountain, and that way the middle can kind of, the roots can kind of touch the soil without the leaves getting all immersed in the soil. I hope that makes sense. So instead of making a hole to plant it in, I made a little bit of a mountain, so the soil in my planter, can meet up with the soil around the roots. Okay, so that will sit, it has holes in the bottom, that will sit into the tray of water, which I always keep some reservoir in the tray of water, and doesn't matter how high the tray is, how high the water level is, they're happy. They're just happy. Easy, guys. I'm gonna try to drill through this. This is gonna be my experiment. These are like shot glasses, I think. Party shot glasses. But it's a really brittle plastic, so I really don't know if it'll drill through, but it's a pretty good size for pings. Wish me luck. Hopefully I'm not going to the hospital. Oh, it works. For some reason, I thought they would totally crack open because they're quite brittle. So that makes me happy because I can plant smaller ones in here. So I've got my ping soil. You kind of have to bring the level quite high because you want the leaves to kind of not be stuck inside there. They grow quite wide, the Pinguicula. So let's see, we can find a smaller one to put in here. Boop, 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 boop. Separate out here. Can you see? Okay, just lift that guy up with the pointy side of the stick and just pop him in. And don't worry, you can push on them a little bit. They're not like crazy sensitive. And then I just kind of tuck the soil underneath to where the roots are, and almost make a little berm or a little mountain. And yay, this pot works. I can't believe I never tried it before. Just assumption that this soft plastic would be easily drilled into, but this would not as much. But there, cute. And so now I can sit it in the water. Now that just changes everything because I can plant a ton of them into these smaller ones because I don't have a million sauce cups. I better get on my friends to give me all their sauce cups. So these ones, however, you can drill in, I think, a couple at once. Just be careful. Okay, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not as happy. These are 2-ounce cups, I believe. My Dremel gets a little angry with me sometimes. I don't even know what a Dremel's used for, other than for this. I'm sure maybe it's for like buffing things or something. I don't know. well, all I can think of is like buffing your heels, but I'm sure it's like for buffing, I don't know, wood. I don't know. I've been wanting to learn how to use tools because I see all these projects online that that I could potentially do. You know, those home Pinterest or those home renovation projects where, you know, it looks so easy, or the YouTube shorts where it looks so easy and you're like, dude, I can do that. And it only took them half an hour, the length of time of the show. I can totally do that. But of course, it doesn't take that amount of time. And I have no idea how to use the tools. But I would love to get like I think it's called a router. It's to make a hole. This one has a ton of babies, look. Or a ton of plants and babies. So there's a plant, and then there's a different baby underneath there that probably grew from a leaf. This one is quite a common pink, but I have one that grew a flower. It's quite pretty. I'll show you later. So this one has, you know, the leaves are higher than the soil. So then I'll just make a little hole so I can get the root ball. I don't even know if I'd call it a root ball, but the roots into there and snug it. And again, I like to kind of lift the leaves out and kind of over the edge of the planter so they can spread out, and also so they can stay dry. And you can snug the soil right in. It doesn't matter if you compact the soil a little bit, in my opinion. Like really, these are not picky plants at all. If you let them sit in gross, oh, I shouldn't say gross, but if you let them sit in a tray of water, they'll be happy. They will be happy. And I also think that they do prefer a little bit higher humidity. Obviously not like super high, but a little bit higher humidity I feel makes all plants a little happier. You know, like Hoyas, like a little bit higher humidity, they tend to do a little bit better rather than being like super dry. Same kind of thing. I just think these prefer a little bit higher humidity. So here's a cyclosecta. Should we propagate one of those since this one's so big and beautiful? Those ones are small still. Sure, let's take some from here. This big mama. Big mama. People love cyclosecta because it can get really purple. This is, remember, this is kind of the succulent stage or the dormant stage. And so it is not as beautiful right now. The leaves are a little more curled and whatnot. They're not as purple as usual, and their flowers are purple also. Now I really have to show you the flower of raspberry blonde. Raspberry blonde sounds like, you know what that I'm confusing that with? This is going to show my age. Do you remember that band? What was that band called? Oh, they're called Platinum Blonde, or was it called In Excess? I don't know. Platinum Blonde, maybe that's what raspberry blonde reminds me of. Anyway, raspberry blonde has the most beautiful flower that looks like a pansy. So again, pull the leaves from the bottom and pull as close to the base as possible. If you have a limpy one, compost it, or I feel like that one feels like a different plant in there. Compost it or cut off the limpy part, and if the base is still kind of succulent feeling, then you can still attempt the base and see if it will give you a new plant. But look, seriously, look at all the plants you can make from one little adorable ping. So again, just try to pull as close to the stem or root ball as possible. I don't know, there's not even really a stem on these guys, so that you don't break it. I mean, I've seen and I've tried to make a little slit in the middle of the leaf and see if something will grow in the middle and at the narrow base of the leaf as well. And in some cases I've had success, in some not so much, but I can't say that I've, like, you know, designed a well-controlled variable experiment, but I suppose I could try. Sometimes maybe it's just like an unhealthy leaf that is your demise, so try to use healthy leaves again. So I wouldn't use that one. Go away. Okay, so that's a lot here. It's gonna, and you still have a significant mother plant here, which I can put back in. I'm just gonna put a little more soil in my tray here. I made the tray really shallow for some reason. So we'll tuck that guy back in. Found another baby. Sometimes these babies I find grow a little lanky. Maybe because they're like hidden underneath, but even if the leaves come apart of the baby, you can still just toss them. I don't mean toss them up, I like toss them around your propagation tray, I mean. So if they come apart, just throw the leaf somewhere and it will most likely still take. Okay, so I'm gonna put that tray aside and let's plant one of these cyclosecta babies here, just to thin it out a little bit. Okay, excuse the noise, I need to Dremel some of these. Alright. Oh, now I can just sit and watch some YouTube videos and Dremel away. Now, I wouldn't get your kid to do it or anything. My kids are only 10 and 7, so quite little. This one has tons of leaves for a little baby guy. So I'll make a little hole because there is a root ball that sits below the leaf line. So I'll tuck it in and then push the soil towards the middle a little bit, and that just makes sure there's good contact with the roots and also kind of takes the soil away from the leaves. And I'm going to put him way up high on my shelf so that he grows lots of becomes really purple rather. So what do you think? Is that enough Pinguicula info for you? Maybe I'll take you with me, or maybe I'll bring a couple pings over here from my tent and show you some of the remarkable ones. I also have one that is gigantic, and I believe it's called Gigantea. Look underneath this one, see little babies there? So you can plant them, certainly they'll grow out, or you can just take them out and then they have a little more light and freedom, and just, they're pretty fragile, but like I said, if one breaks, just toss the leaves and hope for the best. Or you can wait till they get a little bigger and stronger, but they're kind of hidden beneath mom's kind of skirt there. Look, I found another silly little dumb, can't see it, but snail. They just love pings or ping soil, or that kind of like, maybe they love swampy soil. Okay, so this is this Ellersia. I guess the leaves tend to curl down. So one thing you can do is you can perhaps pull some of those leaves and so expose the roots a little bit more. But this one doesn't have that many leaves, so if you pull too many leaves, the whole thing's going to fall apart on you. No biggie, because of course you can just propagate all those leaves. So I'm just going to again push the soil towards the center a little bit. That creates almost a trough for the leaves so that they don't necessarily contact the soil. And there we go. Put that up high, and that's going to turn into a beautiful pink. So I could separate lots more here, but I'm going to plant these guys. But let me grab a few to show you, a few of the other ones I have. Okay, so this is a very juicy raspberry blonde, and it'll get much more pink in higher light. Sorry, I just want to tuck a little more soil in there. Higher light, but look at the flower. Literally, I'm wearing like a flowery shirt, but literally it's like a little pansy flower, and the fungus gnats actually stick to the stem of the flower too. But it's a fairly juicy one, which is nice. This pirouette is a very juicy one, like these ones, and they turn quite pink, like over here. I'll take this one and put it into my tent or sell it. It takes up a lot of room. See, they get quite pink, and they'll get even more pink than that with more light, but they're quite beautiful, and they're juicy, and they grow lots of flowers. So, I mean, they're cute, their leaves get pink, They eat fungus gnats, they grow flowers. What more could you want? This is the one I was talking about, the little long-leafed one earlier, which is right here. Oh, it's juicy too. Long-leafed one. It will grow super pink, and I think somewhere I have a pretty pink one. But what is its name? I'll have to look it up. So these sit in a tray of, see, this is like a, what did I buy from here? I don't know, cookies or brownies maybe? That'd be a lot of brownies. 2-bite brownies, you know? They just all have holes in the bottom. I lie, this one doesn't, that's why it was dry. So one second. Sometimes the Dremel doesn't want to go through if there's like a ton of soil, because it's too hard. But anyway, that one didn't have a hole, so that's why it was so dry. So I should actually poke a few more. Oh, come on. Maybe I need to recharge it. Okay, well, maybe it needs a little recharging, or I need to use a pot with, make some holes in it before I pop it into the soil. So I'm just cutting off some of these and composting some of those. This guy's a little loose. Look at that gross water, right? It's pretty gross. So this one is see, this pot is way too big. I don't like it. Way too big. Oh, you know what I do sometimes though, if the pot is too big, I put leca balls in the bottom to raise the pot up a bit, because I don't want to necessarily use that much soil, because I don't know, I'm cheap. I don't feel it's necessary to use that much soil because these roots are so shallow. Seriously, I need to 3D print some ping pots or something. So we're gonna tuck that guy a little higher. Now I feel like these are, no, I thought they were getting a little burnt, but I don't think they are. They're not that pink yet. So I believe this is Ellercia, or I suppose it could be Estrelita, which is a star-shaped one. But I even have these tiny little cups which are used for my geckos. It's gross and gooey in there, but see, they can get quite pink. And this is all clustery like that instead of spread open, because it's more in its succulent stage right now. So it's not really, you know, in its actively growing stage. And you might get a little bit of mold in there just from the moisture and maybe lack of airflow. But it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother them. Sometimes the bottom leaves will get limp. You can just pull those out. But I think that's, you know, that looks like a pirouette as well. So anyway, that's another tray of them. And I have many more, but I don't think I can show all of them to you. Okay, this tray I made, I don't think even too long ago. It's, look, there's a stupid snail on top. I don't keep it entirely covered, but I don't think I even made that long ago. And look, it's almost full already. Literally, these things propagate like crazy. I don't think I have holes in the bottom of this, because for whatever reason, because it just sits on a shelf. So I don't have a reservoir in there, so you can just water them when they become dry, and you can water them, you know, you can water them quite thoroughly. They're not gonna croak on you or anything. They're just easy plants. And a collector of snails, apparently. They don't eat them, but they like them. Okay, so I have to plant the rest of these, but I don't think you want to watch me do all that, do you? Okay, so that's that. And let me know if you have any questions about pings. Happy to help. Bye.
The very first moments of falling, the stirring of the heart, felt the love I gave no longer started to bloom with you in mind. Wanna learn to find with you a way to hold, not lose, to find this can only mean one thing, that my love might begin to believe